And maybe we can start at the very beginning, namely, what is evolutionary psychology?
Yes. Okay. Well, I could probably spend 4 hours explaining that. I'll try to condense into a few minutes.
Sure.
Look, evolutionary psychology is simply the application of the framework of evolution to study the most important organ that defines our personhood, which is the human mind, right? Mm-hmm. So in the same way that I can use evolution to explain why our kidneys function the way that they do, or why we have opposable thumbs, I can, of course, use the theory of evolution to explain why this human mind of mine and yours has evolved to be the way it is, why it has the emotional system that it has, the perceptual system, the motivational system, the cognitive system, the behavioral system. All of these systems did not evolve out of magic. They didn't come through what typically social scientists say. It's due to culture. It's due to learning. It's due to socialization. Even if that were true, it would still beg the question, why is learning of that form? Why is socialization of that form? Why do certain cultural forms take the shape that they take? They're not due to something outside of biology. They're due to biological imperatives. So evolution, so that's the first thing. The second thing I would say about evolutionary psychology is that evolutionary psychologists recognize that the human mind is made up of two distinct sets of systems. So they are what are called domain general mechanisms and domain specific mechanism. Intelligence is a domain general mechanism because intelligence is a key that I can use in many different domains. I can use it to do well on my calculus exam. I could use it to be funny in the mating market. I could use it to aspire to be a good politician. Intelligence is a general key that could be used across many domains. Domain specific mechanisms, though, is what evolutionary psychology adds to our understanding of the human mind, because what a domain-specific computational system says is that in the same way that our pancreas and our liver and our heart have each evolved to solve specific problems, the human mind is an amalgamation of computational systems, each of which has evolved to solve a specific adaptive problem. So, for example, find mate, retain mate, avoid predators, build coalitions, build friendships, invest in kin, avoid, poisonous foods, or toxic foods. Each of these evolutionarily recurrent problems would have necessitated the evolution of specific computational systems that are exactly armed to solve that problem. And so this is why evolutionary psychologists talk about the human mind being like a Swiss Army knife, because that's a very apt metaphor, because the Swiss Army knife consists of different blades, each of which is not transferable to another domain, right? The blade that takes out the cork from the wine bottle cannot be used to cut the camembert cheese. You have to use different blades for different purposes. So those are two of the fundamental tenets of EP. Maybe I'll add one more. Most social scientists are what's called social constructivists. They think that everything due is to social construction, which inherently means that the human mind, according to them, is tabula rasa, empty slate. We are born with empty minds, and it's only through the forces of socialization that we learn to prefer a certain type of man or a certain type of woman or certain types of food. It's only socialization. There is no biological imperatives. And of course, evolutionary psychologists say, of course, socialization matters, but there are innate biological blueprints which we come to the world with. So one quick example, and then I'll cede the floor back to you. Facial symmetry is an evolved marker of beauty that, of course, many people will say, well, that's just a social construction. We just learn through advertisements to prefer these types of faces, which is, of course, complete nonsense, because those images exist in their form because they cater to innate preferences. Now, how would we demonstrate that something is an innate preference? Well, you could take children who are too young to be socialized. So by definition, they haven't yet reached the cognitive developmental stage to be socialized. And we can show that those children already exhibit an innate preference for facial symmetry, for people who hold facially symmetric, faces. And so therefore, there are very, very clear and elegant ways to demonstrate that we are hardly tabula rasa. We are born into the world with certain biological imperatives.